quit a year ago and then got mowed down by a garbage truck on Bob Hope Drive. She could have had a hell of a year. Smoking like a chimney, acting tense, all of it. Smoking was her biggest pleasure, and she quit for nothing. A whole lost year of happiness.
Silda, is this your way of saying you want to keep on drinking?
Honey, if I wanted to, I would. I don't, so I won't.
Helen Bloom died? I thought she just dropped us.
She did drop you, and then she died.
Well, maybe they're connected. Why did she drop us?
Why does anybody drop you? You're not an easy person. I would drop you too if I could. How do you like the new Poochie I'm wearing?
You mean, how do I like the quote-unquote Poochie you're wearing?
Don't start with me. There was a sale. I had to fight off 3 old vultures for this Poochie. It was like something from National Geographic.
That Poochie was made in a basement in Rangoon. All those phony designer dresses and tacky Hong Kong knockoffs you scrounge for at Lowe's never really fool anybody, actually.
This Poochie is quite real.
Darling, I know when I'm being played. I know what's real and what isn't.
They don't have faith at Lowe's.
Right. They have originals for $14.95. It's a miracle.
Holly, stop that. That's mean. What's the matter with you?
I'll tell you what's wrong. The buttons are wrong, the color's off. There's no shame in being careful and having to scrounge for bargains. It's admirable. But I don't like it when people pretend things are one thing when they're clearly another. My daughter is tap dancing around about this book of hers, and we're all sitting around waiting like nothing is happening. Oh, I could take it out of her goddamn bag. I could sneak it out of her bag, which is something that you would do, but that would put me on the defensive, and then the discussion would become about that rather than the thing itself. So we can play that game. I can wait, but let's not pretend those are real buttons.
You know, I'm going to have to learn how to deal with you now that I'm sober. Because when I was drinking, that train of thought would make perfect sense. But sober, what you just said is totally incomprehensible.
Before Helen Bloom died, she quit my book club, you know.
I know all about that. But that wasn't a book club. It was a vast right-wing conspiracy. See, your politics offend normal people. You goad people with them.
Well, I do like to spar.
That's what Attila the Hun said. That's why the two of you are so isolated out here. Your only social life is that blue-haired Republican crowd. All those fundraisers you do and go to, all those hopeless squares. You used to be so with it when we were kids.
Oh, I love those fundraisers, Silda. I love those people. They're my people. They have a stake in upholding the entrepreneurial American spirit. I'm still a Texas girl, Silda. So are you.
Honey, newsflash, you're not a Texan, you're a Jew. We're Jewish girls who lost our accents along the way. But for you, that wasn't good enough. You had to become a boy, too. Talk about the real thing. Talk about faking it. Honey, this Poochie is a lot more real than your Pat Buckley shtick.
Do try not to be disagreeable, Silda. It's Christmas.
Hello, my darlings. Wow, the two most beautiful
Hi, sweetheart.
women of the desert.
Oh, hey, Lyman. Submarine Captain was on the Turner Channel last night. They're doing a Christmas of War pictures from the old days.
A Christmas of War pictures?
What can I say? It cheers people up. This is America. We love pictures about war. It makes us warm and fuzzy. You know, it took you 12 minutes to die, not including the commercials.
Well, it's true. You know, nobody at Warner's died like me. It's the one thing I had a knack for. I was damn good at dying in a blaze of flares! You know, before the kids get back, I want to ask that we give Brooke some breathing room tonight. You know, Palm Springs should be a refuge that she can come to when life in New York gets unbearable.
Palm Springs is not a refuge. It's King Tut's tomb. The entire town is filled with mummies with tans.
I don't want any confrontation. It's the first time she's back in 6 years, and I want her to want to come back often and easily and to feel safe here.
Lyman thinks I'm too stark with her.
Huh. What Lyman thinks is that his wife doesn't take to constructive criticism very well, is what Lyman thinks, okay?
Get away from me, Hugh. I just think that the best way to get someone not to be an invalid is not to treat them as such.
And there you have it, folks. The entire GOP platform in a nutshell.
If I were to be gentle with you, darling, you would never get out of bed.
Oh, good.
Stuff.
Come on, it's insane out there. A papier-mâché reindeer and a menorah fell on the Palm Canyon Drive, and traffic was backed up for miles, and the light sparked a fire, and the reindeer burned up like an effigy of George Bush in Baghdad. I forget how hallucinatory it can be on the West Coast.
Oh, I gotta get out of this place.
You can always move back east with me. I have room.
Oh, yeah, me and the snow. That'll work.
Hey, why have we never gone to that Desert Follies thing? Do you realize the oldest living showgirl is performing there nightly?
Sure, Dorothy Dale.
I want it. The best Christmas gift you could give me is we go downtown, get funny drinks, and watch the showgirls. I mean, she's in the Guinness Book of World Records.
I think we may have just found the next foreman for jury of your peers.
All right, here it is. 2 copies, freshly printed. Now I just want to get this over with so we can go on to enjoy ourselves.
Merry Christmas. Santa has come early. Yay.
Now, I don't want there to be any more anxious stares, no more fear, no more dread.
Dread? Should we be dreading this novel, darling?
No, not dread. Wrong word, sorry. But there is something you should know before you read it.
Oh, I just love it when people say there's something you should know. You just know it's something you wish you didn't have to hear.
Stop it, Polly.
Well, first off, it's not a novel. I know I said it was, and it started off as one, but after a few chapters, there was no hiding what it is. It's a memoir.
A memoir of?
Of us, of everything that happened to us, so I wanted to prepare you for this.
Oh, so you want us to brace ourselves, and that's why you've been hesitant to tell us you thought we couldn't handle it?
Well, I had to finish writing it to make sure, to know what I had, to sit with it.
Well, it's not entirely unexpected, but may I ask what's in it?
Probably the more piquant question is what's not, isn't it, Brooke?
Look, I was blocked, as the entire world knows, and then something clicked. You know about those old diaries that you sent me, Dad? About being old guard Republicans in Hollywood and how that made us? How being the child of an ambassador and how that affected us.
In other words, it's about your brother, of course.
Well, yeah, it's about Henry mostly, and about your relationship with him. I mean, what happened to that boy who used to love music and who used to make me sit between 2 speakers and memorize every Beach Boys song?
Brooke, I just want to say this. You may, of course, write whatever you wish, but the ice gets thin. The ice gets very thin when it involves we, the living. We, the living, would like to go out gracefully.
Hey, I have an idea. Why don't we all read it first before somebody says some shit they might want to retract later? I mean, you all have questions. They can all be, let's just have Christmas first, okay? Can't we all try really hard to muster up some normalcy for me as like a Christmas present? Okay, please?
Well, I don't need to read it. I can give you my stamp. Say what you will, I am at peace.
Peace? Lyman, no, you're not.
No, I'm sorry, Polly. I bow out. I do not wish to adjudicate what our daughter has written.
You don't want to look at it?
I will not put myself in the position of...
Decider? Well, I will. You and I have a son who is was implicated in a senseless and horrific bombing of a recruiting center in which a homeless veteran of Vietnam was burnt to death, burnt to a crisp, supposedly by accident. And that's the subject of her book? So no, I am not at peace.
Let it be, Polly. That's not how I conduct myself. I never have. It doesn't work.
Look, I love you, and nothing, and it contradicts that. Honestly, I don't think you have anything to be nervous about.
Said the spider to the fly.
Oh, I just love how right off the bat, Mom, you assume it's a hit-and-run job on you. Look at you. How little trust there is in you.
Trust? Didn't Ronnie say trust but verify? I would just like to verify before it shows up on the bedside tables of the liberal elite across the land. Before we're reviewed by your pal Miss Didion in the New York Review of Books.
Oh, wow.
You know, let's not rush to any conclusions, shall we? I mean, if you got a decent advance, we could always give it back if that's an issue.
Jesus, enough bought it. I'd probably make more money selling cashews in Central Park. But this is really something, and it gives me time to do another. Really, I don't understand.
Of course it's good. You're a real writer. You shouldn't have been fulminating for 7 years.
Fulminating? Is that what you call being hospitalized? Is that what you call what's going on with me?
No, I don't. I know what was going on with you.
Polly, you are being really, and I mean really, a hard ass, even by your standards, which is saying a lot. She wrote a new book. She sold it. She's had tough times, tougher than you can imagine.
Oh no, I understand. I fed her when she refused to eat. I sat in that dark little cottage in Sag Harbor. Don't you tell me I don't understand my daughter. This is one area where you cannot presume to condescend to me, the area of raising children. Because when I am called, I show up, okay?
And so much for Yuletide cheer.
A friend of mine's stepson wrote a book. Lovely San Francisco family, all about his shitty childhood, boarding school horrors, booze, and acne. Now there are lawsuits all around. It was in all the papers, and she had to move to Andorra, Spain, or some goddamn place and live among the Basques. And of course, it made the little shit's reputation. Now he's living it up. Oh, well, you probably know him. You probably all go have tapas together in the fucking village, right?
I can't tell if this is acting or is this a shtick. Are you putting on an act or is this real?
Acting or real, the two are hardly mutually exclusive in this family.
Oh, Jesus, stop it, the two of you. You're giving me a headache. Peace, okay? Truce. Forget the goddamn book. We have time, right? I mean, it takes a while to put out a book. So, why do we not even look at it until after the holidays, until after the new year? And let's just enjoy this time we have together. This discussion can wait, and it will. Is that clear?
Yeah, it does take a while to put out a book. Almost a year, in fact.
So, why are we doing this? Good, there's time. Let's bank our fires. We really don't have to do this now at all.
Well,
What?
The New Yorker.
Yes.
There was a slot open, and my editor gave it to them, and they're gonna run it in February.
I see. I see. 2 months away. Uh-huh. I see.
There really isn't much time, so if you're gonna have your say, it's gotta be soon.
The New Yorker is publishing sections of a book about us.
Yes.
And a Happy New Year. 2 seats for Andorra, please.
Sorry, Trip. I didn't...
Pretty selective in what we share, aren't we, Brooke? Jesus.
I don't know that I entirely like the way this is happening. I don't know why this has to be hurriedly. You know, I do appreciate that you're asking us for our blessing and giving us the opportunity, as scant as it is, to weigh in here, but...
I don't understand what there is to be afraid of. Am I not allowed to? Am I not? Is there a blanket ban about writing about my life if it involves someone else?
I could sue you, but that would make an even bigger splash.
You could sue me?
Sure, why not? Families do it all the time. Ask Trip. Half the goddamn people on his show are families suing each other over unpaid parking tickets and negligent fratricide or something. Why shouldn't we get on the act? We could be on Trip's show. We could be part of the freaks.
Ours is small claims. You need the War Crimes Tribunal in The Hague, Mom.
Trip, let me ask you something. A girl comes on your show having exploited for profit a personal tragedy without consulting the other people involved. What would your jury of peers say to that? Would they approve? Or would they say Stoneheart?
Oh, Jesus, please!
Oh, that's great!
You know what? All of you. There are at least 3 places I could have been right now. Cape Town, Punta del Este, or Bahia. There are girls there with fun families and beach houses where you can swim and drink and laugh and nobody's trying to fucking, assassinate each other over a goddamn book. Over a book! Which is of almost 0.1 conceivable interest to anyone I know. And I know a lot of people. I've learned so much about families from my show. How the poor and the damaged will manage to ruin whatever little bit of happiness they happen to have. And I always want to say to them, hey, you schmucks, you've wasted one more day of living better. But me, I'm pretty goddamn happy. And I'm not going to let any of you take that away from me. I have reservations on 3 flights to distant cities for tomorrow. And at this rate, I'm only going to be canceling 2 of them. So, as to would I stone her? See, I'm not asking for peace like Dad is. Mom, I'm just telling you, I love everyone here, and I won't be played, not by any one of you.
Sorry, Trip. I didn't mean for you to be in the middle of this mess.
Yeah, well, you're a really good writer, Brooke. Seriously. But you...
Silva, I wonder if you could make me some tea. Would you mind, please?
Oh, of course, sweetie. 2 sugars, milk.
No, lemon and some honey, too. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yes, please. So,
Why is it that children are allowed a series of free passes in this life and we're expected to be the parents of children forever? It's a new phenomenon. Once I became an adult, my parents' indulgence ceased. But you all want to stay children forever, doing whatever mischief you can think of. All of you entitled children of the me generation.
By free pass you mean free will, of course? And I don't particularly remember being self-indulged, but I guess that's a matter of point of view, I suppose. But let's just really clarify something here. I did not come for a free pass from you or any sort of pass at all.
Then what do you want? Tell me exactly what you want.
I don't know. I don't know if I can go on with it without your blessing. But I just might have to do that.
Honey, you want our blessing? If this book is what I think it is, you're going to get a lot of attention, and you're going to have to be able to handle it. And if you get flustered with me, how are you going to handle the public, strangers?
Strangers are a cakewalk compared to you, Polly.
I knew this is where this was going. I knew, because you're our daughter, and everything else you ever wrote, you sent us before the ink was dry on the paper.
Well, you certainly took your time responding. What's the goddamn rush now all of a sudden, huh?
Oh, Jesus! Stop it! I told you this is absurd.
The story of your brother, it's drugs. An entire generation awash in drugs. He was stoned from the age of 15. It made him dumb and it triggered his depression. 3 generations. 3 generations of escapism, lost, drugs. We have meth labs. We see them up there, up the hill in Indio, the meth addicts. And we see them coming into town, wrecks. I can quite honestly say I dread this. Really, really dread this.
I'm sorry, but I cannot again write about ephemera or about Paul Bow's haunts for travel and leisure. I cannot interview one more Iranian filmmaker or try to dissect Salt Lake City for Manhattanites. This is all I've got, you see? I have no imagination. We are all I have.
You used to believe in yourself. How did you come to think so little of your powers? Your novel, your first book, darling, it's beautiful, exquisitely absurd.
Thank you. But I'm not here to talk about my powers. I'm here to talk about Henry until it makes sense. The pain where he once was, the silence. How, when he came to you for help, you did it. You sent him away. He was your son. No matter what, he was your son.
Okay then. That's your take.
Yes, it is. I imagine his suicide, his last day. I try to understand the note he left. Yeah, that's in there too.
You imagine his suicide?
To try to make sense of it, what that last day was like for him. Drowning.
Why?
Because I think I may have died too.
Oh, but you didn't, darling. Look at you. You're right here. You have a life. You struggled, yes, and I know you were scarred, but all things considered, haven't you prevailed?
This is prevailing? My brother killed himself. He didn't even leave me a note. He left you a note, but not me. That doesn't make any sense. To jump off a ferry in freezing water, never found. You don't leave people that way. It's stealing their life as well.
We shouldn't be doing this. We haven't even read it.
That's true. Well, I'm gonna go do me some light reading, kids. Brooke, you're our daughter, and whatever you do, I will love you. I can't stop this. I can't prevent it. But you must understand there are consequences to your actions.
What does that mean?
How could I trust you? How could I be in your presence again, my dear, if you betrayed the trust of this family, a family that has so valued discretion in its good name for 3 decades? You would still be our daughter, but the meaning of that would change. You needed us. We came to the East Coast a year of our lives. I thought of nothing but your recovery and well-being. I could never quite avail my... I know who I am. That is who I am. You would lose us, so you understand.
Wow, that was a scary kiss. Is that true, Dad? I would lose you?
You know, it never ceases to amaze me how cold it gets out here in the desert at night. So is this going how you expected?
I thought in all things, what did I expect? I don't work that way. I follow my stupid impulses till the bitter end.
You know, you could postpone the magazine piece so that I could slowly persuade your mother that it doesn't matter. Brooke, I'm looking for room to navigate here, for this to feel less like we're cornered. You have to leave people room to navigate. You must give people options.
Politics have given you the idea that all things are negotiable, Lyman. That's why people can't stand politics. Everything is forever on the table.
This has nothing to do with politics. I'm frightened. In 2 months, the most painful part of our lives will be in the glossy pages of a magazine, and a few months later, a book. I'm going outside for a bit. I need to get a smoke and get some more firewood.
So,
I miscalculated badly. Polly basically threatened to never speak to me again.
really? Oh, I'd take that deal in a goddamn heartbeat.